Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the All Star Wrestling Review Series for the 11th of July, 1981. A couple months before I'm born, and they are showing a match from the Philadelphia Spectrum. They are showing I believe, almost in its entirety, the Intercontinental title match between Morocco and Morales. From the Spectrum just a few short weeks before. Of course, major championship matches like that don't happen nearly as much as one would imagine here, and including the change from 6/20/81 Philadelphia Spectrum show in full. Vince does new commentary, and I grab my phone. We'll be back with two in 2 seconds. And again, for the reference of how Don Morocco is to the company over the next several years, his Intercontinental title run here is probably more in line with what is good for the company and overall over the next several years, in terms of, and I mean Morales and Morocco, not exactly a barn burner match, but significant in terms of getting things done for Morocco from a perspective place of him moving forward as a professional within the company, becoming probably the top heel over the next 2-3 years. He does a lot of stalling, steps back through the ropes, and for the most part, using a little bit of a size advantage, more so of a power advantage, and kind of getting to a really basic situation going forward there. They hold on to the headlock, work the headlock, and work a reverse chinlock for several minutes. Morocco, of course, in a position of authority for several minutes. I would say working the hold for probably 3, 4, 5 minutes, kind of working back up, working down, working up, working down. It's amazing to me that Morocco, who just kind of continually brings his man down, doesn't really do a lot in this match other than, um, you know, working holds and kind of stalling and holding things out as long as he possibly can until the match kicks into about the quarter of a hour mark, which at that point you see a comeback from Morales, a lot, with the very basic punch kick mentality. They go out to the floor, rolling on the floor. Morocco gets an advantage out there for a little bit. Morales comes back in, and eventually we see the slip of the brass knuckles and a victory for Don Morocco. He is, of course, your new Intercontinental Champion. This whole thing takes about 15, 16 minutes from opening credit to where it lands. Overall, that is good for business for Morocco. It's good for business for everything that kind of comes together. And then we see Pete Mitchell and George the Animal Steele. That is a much different match. Obviously, Freddie Blassie continuing to be there for George Steele. Steele is very much the punch kick mentality. Also a guy who, is coming into the ring with basically one real big offensive maneuver, basically, other than maybe the nature of his body slams, perhaps. And I'm not talking about chewing the turnbuckle. I'm actually talking about the flying hammerlock, which he uses at every given opportunity. The key point there is given. In other words, not exactly a move you can use with a lot of heavier talent or talent that's, there. Vince McMahon brings out Don Morocco with the Intercontinental Championship. The championship looks much different than it does. Grand Wizard proclaims that this was destiny. This was destined to be a big deal, and also says that he will have a double champion eventually because Backlund's next on the list. The promo by Don Baracco, pretty intense there. Rarely we see a singles match from Tony Garea, so I don't know if that means Martel has the week off or what happened there, maybe teasing an injury or something like that. Johnny Roz and Tony Garea, not exactly a barn burner of a match, and simplistic in the nature of what they're trying to accomplish, which is fine. Simple is fine, but it's also an indication of kind of do they need more stars? Do they need more whatever? But Tony Garea pins Johnny Roz with a sunset flip from the apron, 528. Roz holds on to most of the offense for the run. High knees and basic maneuvers there. Roz also pulling the hair of his opponent and keeping Garea down as long and as far as he can on the canvas, as it were. Roz manages to kind of get things going there, and kind of just see where things are that way, and the sunset flip and the victory for Tony Garea leads to happiness for the fans. And again, we see Greg Valentine and Steve King. Valentine, a pretty major star for the next couple of years in the area, at least the next year or so. Drives the knee into the spine and eventually gets a half crab and eventually turns the half crab into the figure four. Obviously, the figure four, the major thing, and also Valentine known for putting the figure four on after the match is complete, as it were. And that pretty major thing. Valentine basically insinuates that he's back in the WWF. He wants or WWF. He wants the